Over the course of the last couple of days, video game history has been made with one of the most historic leaks ever happening to one of the most highly anticipated games ever. While much of the conversation and discussion and reaction to this leak has been utter shock, I did want to dedicate a video to the actual substance of the leak, of the 90 plus early pre-alpha development clips that were released earlier this week. I wanted to give a breakdown on what we have learned about Grand Theft Auto 6 here. While the game indeed is still likely a couple of years away as Rockstar continues development on it, this week we have learned about many of the vehicles, the new physics, main characters of Lucia and Jason, map locations, the open world size, in-game activities, weapons, new mechanics, advancements made with NPC AI, RPG elements, various new gameplay features, and much, much more. Now, where I want to start this breakdown is with the main clips that have been shared throughout social media. These are the ones that actually include some mission footage. It's not really that much, it's not really spoilery at all, but it gives a good idea on some of the mechanics and the direction that Rockstar Games is taking with this game. So the big clip that has been shared widely has us holding up a diner called Hank's Waffles. Lucia, the playable Latina protagonist in this clip, is a bit thick, wearing a pink crop top with blue camo cargo pants and aims a pistol at workers, demanding money. There is a meter above showing the time until cops are dispatched. The scene is clearly just for testing, as the NPCs lack any distinct faces and look like literal dummies, and are actually called that in the game. The actions taken by the NPCs are influenced by the actions of the player. Lucia in this scene is aggressive, so various animations for the NPCs load in, reflecting fear from the robbery. As it is in Red Dead Redemption 2, NPCs react dynamically to how we go about this encounter. Lucia eventually aims her handgun at a kneeling diner hostage and is given the option to rob or melee. When she gets closer, she can restrain him, and she does, tying his hands up, a new feature which adds and hints at some complexity when choosing to do this line of business in the game. Jason, the white guy protagonist, also appears in this robbery with a handgun, and it appears we can interact with them through the encounter. Jason can even be heard telling Lucia to hurry up, baby, and let's get out of this situation clean, indicating that indeed this is a couple. Prior leaks I had already said that this was a Bonnie and Clyde story with Grand Theft Auto 6. My instant reaction to these characters, especially with their appearance, was Eva Mendes and Ryan Gosling in The Place Beyond the Pines movie from 2012. No idea if the story is going to be anything like that, but that was my instant reaction when I saw these characters for the first time. But Jason is wearing a baseball cap backwards in this encounter. He has a long sleeve black shirt and cargo shorts. Both of these characters appear to be in their maybe late 20s if I had to guess, and it's unclear if it's possible during this robbery, but character switching, as shown in a separate clip, appears to be nearly instant, as we can make the change by using the down button on the D-pad of our controller. Once the cops arrive, we see Lucia aim her handgun at another hostage with the option to threaten. They then kill them and proceed outside, in which they're confronted by police who have set up a perimeter and order us to surrender. The outdoor area is quite detailed. It appears that this could be far from Vice City. Lots of vegetation is around, which makes me believe that this could be a location modeled after northern Florida. Once outside, though, our robbers have earned 2 wanted stars and decide not to engage in a gunfight. Lucia and Jason maneuver around a few parked cars and eventually jump into and steal a Port Gellhorn police cruiser. Interestingly, when we get into the vehicle, tutorial-like prompts pop up which might indicate that this is an early mission. One prompt notes that if you are wanted and the authorities see you enter the vehicle, they will remember that vehicle. This indicates that the police AI has seen a major upgrade, and no longer can players just drive far away and expect police to simply forget and move on from our lawless behavior. The clip ends with Lucia taking off and saying "F the police," as Jason says we can lose them. Soon after, the police cruiser crashes outside of a dated car wash. Although it should be noted that that specific ending was more so whoever was playtesting this accidentally did it. It's not actually by design. To the next mission, though, we have Jason and Lucia arriving at a strip club called Jack of Hearts. We meet with a character named Dre. He's having a conversation with a different lady, but he eventually ends up talking to us, and he mentions that he's trying to get into the music game, and he also says he's going to introduce us to someone named Boopy, or something along those lines. We're apparently staying at their crib. trip. During this interaction, we get a notice of 2 new contacts being added, that being Billy and RB Shaw. We also receive a What's Up message, which probably is a parody of WhatsApp. Our first appearance of the minimap is shown. It looks identical to Grand Theft Auto 5's, although, and this is important to bring up, this could be a placeholder. There's a lot of aspects of this Grand Theft Auto 6 early in development footage that may not make it into the final build, or things could get changed over the course of the game's development, and maybe it already has. But on the minimap, we can see icons for WM and YJ, likely missions for mysterious characters that we don't know of yet. As we follow Dre, we go up a set of stairs to the VIP second floor of the club. Dre interacts briefly with a DJ named Tip. Tip is upset as he's waiting for drinks. Dre asks why that is his problem. Tip hits back saying that Dre is staff, and Dre, before walking away as we follow, says that this is why nobody likes him. Next, as we continue walking along this second floor, we arrive to what appears to be the VIP private dances section of the club, and again we have a very quick interaction as a couple are having an argument in front of a stripper. The man named Sam seems to think that his partner is unfaithful. She tries to calm him down, saying nothing happened, and he yells in her face. Dre attempts to jump in, calm things down, saying that she's a good one, and Sam hits back saying that doesn't really matter and to never fall in love. It's not worth it. Jason remarks that Sam is like a character straight out of a mob movie. Dre then continues forward and the clip comes to an end. Before we get into a rundown on some of the animals, map locations, vehicles, in-game activities, world events, mini-games, and other activities that have been detailed, I want to go over some of the other things that have been found in the clips. We have an interaction with Jason and a few redneck pals next to an in-ground pool. In the background, you can see a few small houses, an RV, and debris on the ground. It definitely seems like a poorer area, but one of his friends mentions seeing something on Life Invader, and the other friend chimes in with that trademarked Grand Theft Auto humor, saying that using Life Invader means Jay Norris is downloading your brain and going to sell it to the Chinese government. When informed Norris is dead, he says he doesn't believe it, just as he doesn't believe Finland is a real place and a pot of gold is at the end of a rainbow. Then he tries persuading the friend to smash his phone and break out of the cage he's locked into. In another situation, we have Lucia watching a stripper on a pole at the center of the Jack of Hearts club, and then she walks around the heavily populated club at night before leaving. All of the character models except for the protagonist is low res, as again this is all test footage. Lucia engages in a firefight. She earns 5 wanted stars with cops on the streets of a northern Florida looking town. There's a strip mall nearby as well as an older apartment building, the Rock Ridge Neighborhood Service Center, and a few factories that blow smoke into the air. And then another encounter, we have a high-speed chase with Lucia sitting in the back of a pickup truck, crouched behind a crate and holding an AK-47 as she shoots police cars that pursue them. As we drive by, a Mexican restaurant can be seen, as well as a store called Treasured Trash, which maybe it's a pawn shop. There's a gas station called Limited Gasoline, a store called Te Invito, a bar, and a number of other stores that are out of business, run down, and/or have a for rent sign. Within these clips, we also got an early look at the Vice City metro transportation system. An airboat is seen in action, hinting at traveling through the swamps. There's various clips of police AI being tested using cover when being engaged in a gunfight with the player. Jason can be seen robbing a diner worker with an assault rifle in hand, and there's identical Red Dead Redemption 2 dialogue options shown. This is obviously placeholders as it's literally identical, the same font, the same everything. Jason can be seen going prone. This confirms it is a new feature to the franchise. Jason enters a thrift or antique shop and has the option to rob it, but this also might be a place where we can sell stolen items. There's animation tests of Lucia's physics. She could be seen jogging and coming to a stop. We also see many of those for Jason, as in one, he's moving around crouched and attempting not to get shot by gunfire. Rockstar developers were also testing crashing physics as well in this footage, as there could be seen a vehicle driving over an overpass. Beforehand, there's highway signs mentioning the North Beaches and Lake Leonida on Interstate 97, which are ahead, and the current exit takes them to Washington Beach. In another clip, Jason finds and opens a shipping container which holds stacks of cash and a motorbike inside of it. There's various development clips of the inside of a vehicle being adjusted, the mirrors, seats, steering wheel, etc. This could just be Rockstar's development team designing a new vehicle, or it could hint at new customization options that players can have with vehicles. There's a character, possibly an NPC, taking a selfie. This could just be an example of Rockstar fleshing out the open world with unique NPC interactions or things that you'll see with NPCs doing as you travel about Vice City and the various other regions within the game. A female character can be seen picking up and carrying a body. This is another new mechanic as previously seen in Red Dead Redemption 2. And again, there's just a lot of Red Dead here. The influence is very, very obvious. Another clip shows the weapon wheel system, which mirrors again RDR2. There's limited weapons and items that we can carry. Lucia also can carry a loot bag, which might be something used for maybe robberies. Maybe we can steal items from homes or other places that we go about. And then some of the items that we can actually carry on ourselves indicates that players might be able to hold onto health kits and other items that serve as temporary buffs. Jason can be seen picking up an assault rifle from the ground as opposed to the gun blipping into his inventory. He can also drop that gun from his inventory as well. Jason enters into a gang member's territory. He hides behind a truck and he gets discovered and shot at. There's actually unique animations to how a character reacts to getting shot. Within the game's code, there is a mention to a jetpack. This is something that actually was previously leaked by Tom Henderson. Inside of the Jack of Hearts Club, there's parody social media logos for Snapchat and Instagram. It could be seen alongside also Life Invader. Different hairstyles were shown for each of the characters, with Jason specifically having facial hair that grows now. Clothing physics also have been added with Lucia. You can see her bra under her shirt. Indeed, these are minor things, but this attention to detail is what so much of us love about Rockstar Games' design. A new feature being introduced is that players and NPCs can hold their guns sideways. It's shown in some of the clips that Jason was holding his rifle sideways and turning it in the air. There's also another character that shoots at Jason in the parking lot, and he's also holding his pistol sideways. There's also some other interesting animations referenced, including one called Overdose. There's animations referencing horses and horse riding, which maybe Rockstar Games is putting to use some of those Red Dead Redemption 2 riding mechanics here once again. There's open materials throughout the open world, as we could see in the footage, like motels, the metro station, restaurants, a pawn shop, and a supermarket. There's also some other like quick shops. One of them you can actually see that you can get a gumball out of the machine. Just thought that was interesting. There's also references of functional elevators. And then there's supposedly tons of RPG elements featured here. It's really difficult to know how far they're going to go with it, but there is mention of food, drink, sweat, fatigue, and also animal taming, which is really interesting. There's mountain bike ramps references and city bikes renting. So maybe there's going to be some fun activities with that. And then of the weapons that were mentioned throughout all of these clips, we have a knife, pistol, pump action shotgun, grenade, flashbang, Molotov, fire bottle, smoke grenade, spear gun, compact SMG, micro SMG, assault rifle, hunter sniper, bolt action sniper, golf iron, golf driver, golf putter, golf wedge, baseball bat, pool cue stick, and crowbar. And then to the equipment that we could use, we have the torch flashlight, a flashlight, binoculars, tracker jammer, immobilizer, bypass, an auto dialer, a USB drive, a lockpick, a slim jim, and a cutoff tool. And then some additional information is that it seems that we will be able to stay in motels and hotels. One hotel is actually called the Kington Hotel, and it seems like there was a pool party with live music that we can go to. There's a chart labeled in one of these clips, Energy in the Grass Rivers. The Grass Rivers seems to be reference to the Everglades, and there is wildlife listed on the chart, which includes alligators, snakes, raccoons, birds, frogs, and bobcats, as well as some rodents. There's also some symbols for plants and toxic waste. There definitely sounds like there's going to be some unique environments for us to explore. And then another feature is that players can now shoot while swimming. Now, another thing that was leaked was a giant list of over 500 world events, encounters, and Easter eggs that players will come upon. I'm obviously not going to go through all of them, but just a couple of the very interesting ones, such as there being multiple mentions of missing tourists that we can come upon, on. There's also multiple locations for yard sales, so maybe we can find some nice new clothes through that. There's self-injury, which maybe this is like an insurance fraud type thing, Saints Row. There's a voice in the storm drain, which may be a Pennywise reference. There's a Bonnie and Clyde mystery, which supposedly there's multiple locations for this activity. There's a workout challenge, which again confirms that working out is something that's coming back to the franchise. There's an island camp, a DUI test, a UFO animal house, swamp safari crazy golf, so maybe we can do golf with that. There's a reference to a basketball court, which could be hinting at basketball returning as a feature. There's various mentions of drug labs, a sniper victim apartment, not sure what that necessarily means, a warehouse, sex robots, I'm not even going to guess. And then there's multiple locations for fishing, which again, that's going to be a feature. There's a Satanist house, backyard wrestling ring. Don't know if that'll actually be something that we could take part in, but if it is, that'd be awesome. And a big cat mansion. Now, to the core locations featured in Grand Theft Auto 6, this is a lengthy list, but there's Ambrosia, and there's a couple of mentions of locations within that area of Ambrosia Farms and the Tarmac. There's Bayside, Copperhead, the Everglades or Grass Rivers, Fairyland, and there's Fairyland Forest mentioned. The Keys, there's East Key, Low Key, and then there's various other places that are within that area, such as a garage, gas station, liquor store. There's La Pearl, which has a laundry and pawn shop. Lake Okeechobee has a motel, prison, and racetrack. Little Haiti, North Beach, North Miami, which has a gas station, a hideout, a liquor store, a mini mart, and a thrift store. There's Ocean Beach, Overtown, which has a safe house, maybe for our characters. There's Port Gellhorn, which is by far the most detailed region thus far. We just know so much about it. There's an abandoned building, basketball court, beach, bingo hall, bowling alley. There's a car wash, fishing store, a fruit stand, a gas station, motel, pawn shop, police station, a quick shop, a raceway, a soccer field, strip club, strip mall. There's a trailer park, and so on and so forth. We still don't necessarily know if we'll be able to go inside all of these locations, but this one definitely seems like there's quite a bit to it. There's Red Hill, which has a forest. There's South Beach, which obviously has South Beach. There's a boardwalk. There's a gym, hotel, Ocean Drive, and a park. There's South Miami. Sundown, which has a beach and tarmac. Vice Beach. There's Vice City Suburbs, Washington Beach. And then there is a bunch of miscellaneous locations, which includes an abandoned hotel, an abandoned observatory, a fountain of youth, a homeless community, Malibu Club, the Monument of Leonida, a redneck yacht club, a spaceship house, an underwater research facility, and Dinosaur World. So there is definitely a lot of variety within this open world. Thus far, based on the phenomenal work that the GTA forums have been doing on Grand Theft Auto 6's mapping, there seems to be indication that the entire world of Grand Theft Auto 6 is about at least 2.5 times the size of GTA 5's, and it seems like there's going to be a lot more activities and things defined within the open world. Definitely seems like Rockstar Games is having heavy inspiration from what they did with Red Dead Redemption 2, in which I think that the open world design, all the mysteries and such, was one of the best aspects of the experience that doesn't get brought up enough. But another aspect of the open world and map that I want to bring up very quickly are some of the iconic locations that are in Florida that have already been seen within the GTA 6 in development footage. That includes and is not limited to the following: Homestead Miami Speedway, which is in Grand Theft Auto 6 called the Port Gellhorn Racetrack. There's also the Portofino Tower that was spotted in some of this footage. The Sombrero Key Light, we saw, I believe, Jason swimming near it. The Solar Amphitheater Bayfront Park, that was also, again, another thing noticed with Jason making his way around there. Rockstar's developers were showing off that location because they were showing how the main character interacted with the seats or if they clipped through it and such. Just basic things that happen in game development. There was also this location, no specific name for it, but which looks identical to its real-life counterpart. The Lone Depot Park in Miami was also seen. That is obviously the home to the Miami Marlins, which is a baseball team. And the interesting thing about this is that we see logos for the Vice City Mambas, which is a football team in the 3D universe. They showed up in GTA Online, I believe, sometime recently. Although it looks like Rockstar may be turning this baseball ballpark into a football field. Not entirely too clear what's exactly happening there, though. The high-rise residential condominium in Miami, Florida, 1000 Museum can be spotted in the background of one of these scenes. There's also a metro map that is identical to the real Miami version. It literally looks pinpoint on the dot, identical to the one in real life. Grasslands and vegetation that makes it look like this could stretch into Georgia. That is right now the current working theory that the GTA forums community has, but again, until we see some more, it's really hard to make those conclusions at this point. But we also do see a Vice City neighborhood police department building that almost looks identical to the Miami Beach Police Department building. So obviously Rockstar taking some creative liberties here, and how all this comes together, again, will remain a mystery for quite some time. Last but not least, we move on to the vehicles of Grand Theft Auto 6, and a big shout out to the GTA forums, as that is really the home for a lot of the information that's coming here. And I will have links in the description down below if you want to read up and also discuss more about Grand Theft Auto 6 with that community. But vehicles that have been found that are going to be featured in the game includes the Ballista Compact, the Ocelot Locust. There's an early 90s Buick Skylark or something that looks like that. There's a bunch of new cars to the franchise that just don't have names that were shown. There's a 90s Chevy Caprice, a 2016 to present Chevy Malibu, a Chevy Sonic, and a 2018 to 2022 Honda Accord. Again, these are just cars that we don't have names of, but obviously Rockstar is going to have their own parody names that we'll eventually find out about. There's an Albany Primo, a Benefactor Shafter LWB. There was a 1990s or 2000s Ford Explorer or Tahoe mix, a 2018 to the present day Toyota RAV4 with styling cues from the Lexus NX, and a Mercedes grille. There's a Pegassi Toros, a 1980s Jeep CJ Scrambler, potentially a 5th gen F-150, a G20 conversion van, a Brute camper, a Vapid Speedo, HVY mixer, a Metro Mover, a D-Class Sheriff SUV, a Mabatsu Sanchez livery, a Nagasaki Street Blazer, a 1970s Ford Ranchero, a 1971 Buick Estate, an Albany Emperor, a D-Class Turbo Sabre, we have the Yoga Classic, the Contender and Sadler, a Slam Van pickup, a Bobcat XL, an updated Regina, an Alpha, a Gauntlet Classic, a Moonbeam, Helion, Boxville Go Postal. There's an unknown Albany vehicle that is based on a 1959 60 Cadillac. There's a Rebel. There's some sort of unknown Asian sedan, a Feroce or a Feroci, a Baller, a Novak Buffalo STX, an Alpha Enfudo, a Benson, an NF890, a Buffalo with no sports bumper, and then there's also a Stanier and Landstalker. And that is well over a few hundred details and features that will be present in Grand Theft Auto 6 based on the leaks that came earlier this week. And actually one prior leak that came just a few months ago may have actually been confirmed, and that is the actor portraying Lucia in Grand Theft Auto 6.
I cheated on Greg. And I love you, and we've been friends for a very long time, since the kids were born. But I'm sorry, I have to agree with your psychiatrist.
Rumored for some time, but all but confirmed now, Alexandra Christina Echevarri. That is indeed how she sounds, a clip from her demo reel. And comparing her voice to the leaked clips of Lucia talking, it's pretty obvious that this is the individual that is portraying the character, as well as the resume that leaked a couple months ago said that it should be playing a principal character in a Rockstar Games production, and now we know what that is. Anyway, this has been a lengthy, but I think necessary breakdown of everything that we now know about Grand Theft Auto 6. But what has you most excited for this game, which is still probably a couple of years away? Let me know down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or if you found any informative value, and make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down in the description below. I'm most active on Twitter, giving opinions on news that I do not always get in video form, so do make sure to follow me over there. Also check out my Discord for all sorts of discussion on games. And again, thank you for joining. Consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.